Hello everyone. Today I will teach you writing and today we will talk about shopping. First of all, I will ask you to open your student's book, Prepare, page 57. And then we will do some tasks in your workbook on page 39. Before we start, I want to ask you to look at the pictures and read the first sentence of the story. What do you think happens in the story? I've never enjoyed shopping for clothes. Good job. Let's now read the first few sentences of Arena's story and check your ideas. I've never enjoyed shopping for clothes. It takes ages, and when I get home, I always regret buying something, and then I have to take it back. So one day I decided to try doing it online. As we can see here, Irina shares her story of her problems of shopping offline. Now, I want you to read the Prepare to Write books, and then we will read the story again. I want you to think whether it has a clear beginning, middle, and end. Prepare to write. Firstly, make sure there is a beginning, middle, and end. Secondly, use interesting verbs to describe the actions of the story. Third, use time adverbs and phrases to describe when things happen. First, then, when, while, soon, a few days later, a few weeks after that, suddenly. Great. Let's now get back to our story so that we can see whether it has a clear beginning, middle, and end. Let's talk about this. Here we can see a clear beginning of the story. I've never enjoyed shopping for clothes. It takes ages, and when I get home, I always regret buying something. And then I have to take it back. So one day I decided to try doing it online. Then we can clearly see the middle of the story where Irene tells us that she visited the website, noticed the competition, she decided that she could enter the competition, and finally we can see the ending of the story where Irene has won, got paid for her clothes only for £5. Great. Let's move on now. Now I want you to follow the link to do the interactive exercise to practice new verbs you may have seen in the text. Good job. Let's move on. Now I want you to find 5 time adverbs and phrases in this story. Then choose the correct time adverbs in the sentences. Let's get back to our story so you can look for the 5 time adverbs. Good job. Let's now mention some of the time adverbs you may have found here. Never, ages, when, one day, soon. Good job. Let's now move on. I want you to find correct time adverbs here in this exercise. Great. Let's check your answers now. In the first sentence, we use as soon as. тому що ми використовуємо as soon as в перекладі як тільки стався інцидент. Secondly, 10 minutes later, I finally arrived home. Тобто 10 хвилин по тому я нарешті повернулась додому. And the last one, he discovered the truth while he was reading some old letters. Він винайшов правду, поки читав деякі старі листи. Let's move on and let's do these ones. Good. Let's check your answers now. Fourth, she suddenly had a brilliant idea, meaning вона раптово мала чудову ідею. Next one, I needed a new jacket. First, I tried looking online. Спочатку я спробувала пошукати онлайн. The last one, when I got to school, it was already 9 o'clock. Коли я прийшов до школи, вже була 9. Good job. Now I want you to do a simple eye workout. Let's do it together. It's time to have a break. First, look up and hold for 3 seconds. Then look down and hold for another 3 seconds. Great. Let's repeat it again. Up and down. Up and down. And the last one, up and down. Great. The second one is to look right and hold for 3 seconds, then look left and hold for another 3 seconds. Great. Let's repeat. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Yay! The third one is to look to the top left corner of your eye and hold for 3 seconds. Look to the top left corner of your eye and hold for another 3 seconds. Let's repeat it. Top left, top right, top left, top right, top left, top right. Great, let's move on. Now I want you to rotate your eyeballs 3 times to the right and 3 times to the left. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, and now to the left. 1, 2, 3. Close your eyes tight and hold it for 10 seconds. And relax. Finally, open your eyes wide and hold for 10 seconds. Relax. Yay, we have completed this workout. Let's move on with our lesson. I want you to read the first few sentences of Ricardo's story and check your ideas. Sometimes when you're not looking for something, that's when you find it. I didn't set out to buy anything that day. I was in my local town center just walking around window shopping. Great. Let's now read the whole story and decide whether it has a clear beginning, middle, and end. Sometimes when you're not looking for something, that's when you find it. I didn't set out to buy anything that day. I was in my local town center just walking around window shopping. I saw some nice clothes and some beautiful art. Then I saw a really cool laptop, but it was quite expensive. Later, I went to a cash point to see if I had any money, but I only had £30 in my bank account. It wasn't enough money to buy any of the things, so I took out the money and then kept on walking. While I was waiting for the bus, suddenly I spotted something in the window of a technology store that I had often thought about buying, a wireless speaker for my smartphone. I have never been that lucky with sales, so I was amazed when I saw the price. It was reduced from £150 to £25, with £30 in my pocket. I don't think I've been so excited about a special offer in all my life. I raced into the shop and bought the speaker. As soon as I arrived home, I ran upstairs to my room, connected my phone to the speaker, and played my favorite songs. Life is full of surprises. Let's think about this text. It clearly has a beginning. For example, sometimes when you're not looking for something, that's when you find it. And then we go on to the middle part when he tells a story how he didn't initially plan to buy something, but then in the end he got lucky and found that speaker he's been thinking of. Good job. Now I want you to look at the highlighted verbs in his story and match them to the simple verbs below. Great. Let's check your answers now. Here we can see that ran is similar to raced, біжав і так само біжав, saw and spotted так само є синонімами побачив, started a journey, set out є синонімами почав свій шлях, and finally very surprised and amazed. Обидва є синонімами, які означають дуже здивований. Good job. Let's move on. Now I want you to do this exercise and find 5 time adverbs and phrases in Ricardo's story. Let's get back to his story. In the text, we can see some of the time adverbs. When, that day, then, all my life, as soon as. Good job. Let's now do this exercise where you have to choose the correct time adverbs in the sentences. Let's check your answers now. The first one is I called the police car as soon as I knew the man had stolen the car. Ми використовуємо тут as soon as, тому що тут в контексті більше підходить як тільки я дізнався, що хтось вкрав машину. Secondly, about 6 hours later they found my dog in the park. Тобто 6 годин по тому вони знайшли собаку. I suddenly saw a man running away. Suddenly неочікувано. And the last one, I was watching a film while my mom read a book. Я дивився кіно, поки мама читала. Good. Thank you so much for your wonderful work. Now I want to give you homework. I want you to read the task and plan your story. Your English teacher, me, has asked you to write a story. Your story must begin with one of these sentences. My dad handed me a big bag from a department store. Or, while Chloe was looking at the website, she saw the special offer. Or, while I was leaving the shop, the security guard stopped me. I want you to write your story and present it to the class during our next lesson. I want you to use the tips in Prepare to Write box. I want you to write a story about 100 words and, of course, please check your spelling and grammar. Some tips for writing. First, think about who the main character of your story is. Decide what happened and what event changed the situation. Then write the ending. How did the story finish? Use simple vocabulary that we have already learned and start with a given sentence and continue your story logically. I want you to reflect and think about how did the lesson go? Great. Now I want you to answer. Why did you choose this emoji? Thank you so much for our wonderful lesson and see you next time.